So you have a Tesla and it's not charging properly in the winter, or you've heard on the news that people are lining up at superchargers to charge their Tesla in extremely cold temperatures and they're not charging up properly. Well, I'm a Canadian who has a Tesla and drives it regularly in all temperatures, and I'm going to tell you how you can get your Tesla to charge properly in even extreme cold temperatures. So when you get into your Tesla in the morning and start it up, you might get this message on the dash where it says regenerative braking is temporarily reduced and regen will increase as you're driving. So you'll see, this is an old 2014 Tesla Model S 85. Your display is likely to be quite different on the newer Teslas, but in all cases, the Teslas will still show you the power limit and the regenerative limit on the instrument cluster in some way. So on this particular one, so it'll be slightly different on yours maybe, but on this one right here, there's this yellow bar here that shows us our power limit. So if we floor it, the car will only allow us to take that much power out. It won't give us the full power because the battery is cold. And as well, on the other side, on the bottom here, you'll see this is our regen measurement, but there is no dashed line here yet because currently the battery is so cold that there is zero regen, so there's not even a regen bar. So what's going to happen is you cannot regenerate the car, as in when you're slowing down, it's not going to recharge the battery, and so it's going to coast really far when you let off the accelerator. But what this also means is that you're not able to charge the car currently as it sits. You can plug it into a charger, and the first thing the car is going to do is it's going to want to heat up the battery, and so it's going to spend all of its energy and time heating up the battery rather than charging the battery. And so this regen limit can be equally read to mean it's a charging limit. So now you'll see here that we have in the bottom left corner 78% charged battery. So I have lots of charge for my running around that I need to do today. And what's going to happen is, as it says on the message, regen will increase as the vehicle is driven. So that also means that your charging ability will increase as the vehicle is driven. So let's go drive for a while and see what it does, and I'll give you an update a little bit later. But basically, when you're driving the car, you're going to be pulling power out of the battery, kilowatts of power, and that act of doing that heats up the battery. Also, since the car is on, it's also going to turn on its battery management, heating management system as well, and do some work heating up the battery as well. But basically right now, it's cold, it's not going to regen, and it's not going to have the ability to charge instantly, at least anyway. So for example, maybe I'll just add a bit. If I went straight to a supercharger right now and I plug it in, it will not charge because there's no ability for it to regen or recharge. Okay, let's head on out and I'll give you an update when things have changed. Okay, little update for you now. You can see here on the right hand side, we've been driving for 16 minutes. We've gone 19 kilometers and we've used 4.9 kilowatt hours of power from the battery. And our charge went from 78% to 70%. So we've basically been using power out of the battery, which has done one major thing for this particular experiment, and that is it's increased our battery temperature. So you'll see on the top side, like over here, there used to be a line up there, a yellow line with the power limit. That is now gone because the battery is now warm enough that it can give us full power. And also there's a new line down here that has appeared, and that is our regen limit. And also that can be translated into our charge limit. So you can see it's at about halfway between 0 and 15. So I know it's not a linear scale, but it's close to say 7 kilowatts maybe. So if you get home and you plug it into your wall charger at home and you have up to 7 kilowatts of power for it, it'll pull the full power out of your wall and charge your car up overnight. Now, if you're going to go visit a supercharger like this, again, it's only going to pull approximately 7 kilowatts out of the supercharger. So it may, I haven't experimented enough, so it may you plug in and just sit there and keep heating the battery for a while, or it might start charging. I'm not sure. I haven't supercharged enough to know the exact thing, but the key part is you're not going to get 200 kilowatts. You're not going to get 100 kilowatts of recharge. You're going to get a maximum of 7 or 8 kilowatts out of that supercharger, which is basically like not even supercharging. So in order to get more power out of the supercharger, you have to heat up the battery more. So the way to do that is to drive more. So basically what I'm saying is that what you want to always do is when you stop your car, especially the last drive of the day. For me, I'm doing other errands today, and maybe I'll give you some updates later today. Just back and forth, this and that, doing different things. So I'm going to leave the car for an hour or two now, and then I'm going to jump back in, do some more running around. And throughout the day, that battery temperature meter, that level is going to go up and it's going to go down. The temperature outside is only -6 Celsius, so that's around 20 Fahrenheit. So it's not extremely cold. So it's not going to cool off the battery very much. If it was -30 Celsius or -22 Fahrenheit, I would look at it a little bit differently. First of all, it's going to take a lot longer to heat up that battery, and then also it's going to cool off the battery quicker. So if you were going to be leaving the car, especially at a low state of charge, you'd want to plug it into something so that it starts charging while the battery is still warm. And I guess the most important thing of all this is on your last trip of the day, when you're going to park the car for the night, you'll either want to do one of two things. One is hopefully you haven't used too much power, so you'll wake up with, say, 70%. Like if I park the car now, I'm not worried. I could leave it overnight. The battery will cool down, but I've still got 70% battery to drive around tomorrow. But if you park it with 20% or 10% or 5%, and then you're at a hotel or something, you leave it overnight, the battery cools down, well, then there's two problems. One is it's not going to charge, or it's going to charge exceptionally slowly. And two, you're not going to have any power to drive it around and heat up the battery. So then you'll be like all those folks you might have seen on TV there, stuck at a supercharger trying to charge and it's not charging. That's because their battery is cold and it has a low state of charge. So the key here is, at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do, especially if you're on a road trip, you want to supercharge. So I know you might say, I just want to get to bed. Nope. You should supercharge first, charge your battery up to 70, 80, 90%, whatever number you want, and then go and park the car for the night. It will retain its charge overnight, and then in the morning you'll be starting with a full battery, and you can just hit the road and you'll be driving it. Your battery will be cold. You might have a power limit, but that's fine. It doesn't prevent you from going on your trip or your errands. And it will allow you to drive. And then you'll have all that power that will be running through the battery, and the battery will be heating itself up as you're using it. And then throughout the day, you'll have enough power. You'll get to where you're going, and then the battery will be warm again by the time the charge is low, and you can recharge it again. So the mistake that people make sometimes is driving their car, parking it at night at the end of the day with a low state of charge in really cold weather, and then turning it off and then leaving it for 12, 14, 16 hours. Getting out in the morning, they've got this limit on the power, and it will not recharge either. So this is, I find it, in my experience, this is very unique to Teslas. Other electric vehicles that I've driven, I've not experienced this same situation. Other electric vehicles I've used, when you plug them in, even if the battery's cold, even if it's -25 or whatever it is, they will charge. Now, if you plug it into a level 3 charger, they will limit the charging somewhat. But for me, when I plug it into my home charger, which is only about 3 kilowatts, I've never had any other car other than a Tesla limit its charging because it was waiting for the battery to heat up. So that's what I've learned about the Tesla. Okay, so we've just done a little bit more running around today, and you can see we've used 17 kilowatt hours, and our regen is now up to 30 kilowatts. So that just means the battery is quite a bit warmer. Now we're heading out to a movie, and we're going to leave the car for over a couple hours. It's only -6, so it's not going to cool down significantly, but it will definitely cool down. So we'll take a look when we get out of the theater and see what the regen ability is on the car when we get out. And we're not going to charge it up during the theater because we don't have a plug here. But we don't need to worry. We're at 51% state of charge still with the battery, so we're still good. We'll give you an update later on. Thanks. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours and looks like the temperature remained at -6. So you can see that the regen decreased from 30 to 15 just by sitting out in the cold. So if we were taking it home right away, it would still recharge, or if we were taking it to a supercharger, we'd get 15 kilowatts. But yeah, we got some more errands to run around. I'll give an update at the end of the day. But the key to remember here is once you park the vehicle for the evening, you want to have it in a spot where you either plug it in immediately or you have enough range and charge to do yourself for tomorrow. You don't want to park it with 5% or 10% charge and not plug it in. Okay, we'll give you another update later. Okay, so we've arrived home and we did a couple more errands there, so you can see our regen did go back down to 15 again, but anyway, it's still good enough to plug in. I only do 3 kilowatts at home anyway, and I'll do that before I retire for the evening because we're down to 35%. I want to recharge it overnight, and that's what I would do for this Tesla in the winter. So hopefully this information I've shared with you is useful. This is just me through experimentation and trial and error that I've learned this over the years. It's very unique to Tesla. As I said, the other vehicles I've not had this problem with before. They'll charge anyway, even with very cold temperatures. So Tesla needs it in the Goldilocks zone. It just needs to be just right, not too hot, not too cold. But now again, my experimentation has been with this old 2014 Tesla Model S. I'm not sure if the brand new Teslas act in the same way or as susceptible to cold as the older ones are. So I'd be interested to hear in the comments if you've got a newer Tesla of some sort, how it reacts to these situations, and so I can learn as well. And hopefully this has helped you out. And I guess I'll say, you might have seen some of my other videos where it's -25, -30 degrees outside, and the car works fine in those temperatures as long as you keep these principles in mind that I mentioned. Just keeping the battery warm, thinking a little bit about the battery. In the summer, you don't need to think about it at all because it's warm, but just the temperature in the winter affects the battery. Again, unique to Tesla. So thanks so much for watching. I hope it was helpful or informative. If you did find it helpful or informative, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing for future videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.